Hey everyone, this is Daniel and today is the continuation of my Power Apps container series, video number 4. In this video, we'll focus on gallery and the edit form, and we'll build on top of the home screen responsive form that we focused on video number 3. So that's what I have for this video, but first, here's my intro video. So as you can see, this is part of the part 3 video that we did for the responsive home screen. So that's why I've just gone ahead and started from here, and then we'll build on top of it. But our goal is that after we're all done, this is what the app should look like. So this is kind of the finished product. So if I come over here and if I do say a add, then add takes me to this screen. If I go over here and if I go back to say edit, it takes me to this gallery where I go ahead and select whatever I want to edit, and then based on what I selected, it comes over here. But the key thing is it's responsive. So I've got this gallery also fully responsive. As you can see, it is going ahead and automatically, changing in size. And then based on what I select over here, it shows a edit form, which is also responsive. And see, if I were to go ahead and maximize it, the edit form just becomes responsive. So that is what's going to be our final product, or at least close to it. So let's go ahead now, start with our screen. So what I'm going to do is, since this home screen already has a bunch of, kind of predefined things, specifically the main container, the footer, and the header, I'm going to duplicate this one. So I'll go and duplicate this, and I'll call this for now the view screen, and I'm going to make an adjustment in the view screen, and I'll duplicate that as well. So that's why it's very important that you start over here. And remember, the responsive home screen, I've gone ahead and put that in the Power Users community. I'll put the link down over there below as well. So go grab this, that way you're prepared for this video. So I'm going to call this as the view screen. In the view screen, I'll call this as, let's just say VS main container. And in here, I want to actually get rid of a few things. So I'm going to keep the header and the footer, but I'll go ahead and remove this one. And obviously that changed, but we'll go ahead and fix that in a minute. So I'll change that. VS footer, put this, VS footer. And now in here, inside that, I'm going to put another kind of a main container, right? Because I want to go and capture everything inside it. So what I'll do is I'm going to go and add a left and a right. So I come over here and I need to go to layouts. And in the layout, I need to just grab this container. So I'm going to grab one, and then I'm going to make sure I come out. Because if I click it again, it's going to go and take me on top of it. I don't want to do that. All right, where did you go? Oh, it went ahead and added it inside over here. Did not want to do that. So again, making the same things I've said before. I want to go ahead and put that outside. Come back over here, click on the outside. Now I go to the layouts, and in my layout, I go ahead and grab just the container. That looks more nice. So I'll just go ahead and kind of at least put it a little bit over here. Give it a little shape. So I'll just call that as VS left. And for those who didn't understand, the VS stands for the view screen. That's how I've been doing with my naming convention. So Control C, Control V, hopefully. Yep, see, did that again. It goes and puts it inside. Really wish I would just put it outside. Okay. There. And that's VS. Right. So at least I got an overview of what's going on over here. I'll solve the error, which is the Power by Power Apps, the footer, which is showing on top. I'll solve that in a minute. What I want to do is now start giving these left and right containers, the middle left and right. Let me go ahead and give it a little definition over there. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and take care of its X and Y. So for the left one, its X is going to be 0. That's the easy one, all right? Go ahead and make this X 0. And then its Y, I got to go ahead and reference the header container over here, all right? Or in this case is, just the header container. So what I'll do is for its Y, I'm going to go ahead and say the VS header container dot its height. So now I pushed it down a little bit. Perfect. Let me go and do the same thing for the footer as well. Well, actually, and then let me just keep playing, working with the left one. I don't want to go ahead of myself. So we got the X and the Y. Now let's go and take care of its width and height. So its width is going to be the half of the entire container. So always the half of the VS container. Now, sometimes you might have seen me do like half of the app, but that's always for the topmost container. Once you've defined the topmost container, go ahead and start referencing that again and again. So therefore, I've already got the VS main container reference at the app width level. Now inside the left, I'm going to reference it the main container level. So I go back to the width, and over here, I'm going to say VS main container dot width dot 2. And so I went ahead and fill that up over here nicely. Okay. And then the same thing I'm going to go ahead and do for copy that. I'll go and do that for the other side as well. And then its height, I got to be a little bit careful over there. So for its height, what I need to do is kind of very similar to how we've handled the Y over here. So watch what I'm doing. I type in the VS container or VS main container, right, dot height. Okay, so it filled all the way up, but we're not done yet because I need to subtract it with something. I need to subtract it with is VS header container dot height plus VS footer container dot height yeah. And so now it is sticking in over here nicely, all right? And it's actually even give us the perfect amount of room we need for the footer as well, all right? So now that I've got this done, I can go and replicate it on the other side as well. So now let's focus on the other side, as in the right side. Its X is going to be pretty much the same. Its X is going to be half over here. So what I'm going to do is now focusing on the right container, let's go and do its X. Now its X is not going to be 0, but its X is going to be the VS main container dot width divided by 2. That's the X. Then its Y is going to be the height of this one over here, the top header. So I'm going to do height is the VS main container height. Oh, VS header container height. That's what I meant. It's like, what did that happen? VS header container height. And that's the thing. If you do it right, even visually right now, it should look good. Because if you see how it went and just dropped all the way down, I knew something was wrong right off the bat over there. Okay, so we got the X and the Y done. Let's go ahead and play with the width. So this guy's width is pretty much going to be the same as the other one. It is the or in this case, VS main containers width divided by 2. Both of them look nicely full over here. The only thing I'm noticing is that this guy is a little bit shorter than this one. So let me just make sure its X is good. X is good. Its Y needs to be the VS header containers height. That's also correct. And then let's take a look at its entire height. Its height. That's why. So let me go and now grab this one, copy it here, come over here, copy it there. And now they both were on one match over there. Perfect. So now that we've got the middle ones also taken care of, let's go ahead and get the footer and match it down to the, right below the middle sections over there, the middle ones. So now I go back to the footer one over here. And remember, the footer one, we just copied it and we did the duplicate. So its X is going to be 0, which is perfect because it always starts on the leftmost side. But its Y, that's why we got to go and do some magic over here. So its Y is going to be the VS, let's just do it with the left container for now. Left container dot Y plus VS left container height. And it came back over here. So you might ask, Daniel, why did you just use the left container and not the right container? The left middle container, not the right middle container. I could have used the right as well, but the reason I selected with the left one is because left is always at the left, and the responsiveness kind of tends to start at the left, which is why the X is 0 over there, and all the starting point. Therefore, kind of when I was thinking through it, I said I'm going to just reference on the left container side because it just makes sense over here. So I'm going to go ahead and now save this, and we've got the basic layout done now for the middle containers over here. Cool. Now, finally, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go ahead and now focus on the add and edit form. So what I'll do is I'll come back over here and I'm just going to duplicate this one as well. And I'll call this one as the add edit screen. and I'll call this one AES main container. Cool. Went ahead and renamed it, and it's got a... That's interesting what happened over here. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and delete it. Then I'll go ahead and grab from here the same process. Copy, paste it over here. See what happens. All right, went ahead and grabbed it. Interesting why it did what it did, but it's okay. Now, I just want to make sure that in this case, we're going to delete this and we're going to go ahead and add the edit form. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this now. And there's some tricks I could have done over here. I could have actually added the edit form first and then gone ahead and referenced the footer to the edit form, then deleted the two middle ones. I could have done that as well also, but you know, just moving along over here and just working on that. All right, so basically the basic layout has been completed. So now let's just go and start adding some stuff over here. And the first thing that I want to add are basically the galleries in the view. So let's come back in the view screen over here. And in the left container, I'm going to add a gallery. Now, for the demos that I'm going to use over here is basically just some SharePoint lists data. So it's actually that manufacturers and devices, you know, the ones we use in App in the Day. That's what I'm going to go. So I'm going to go and just grab my connectors really fast. It's the SharePoint one. Let me just go grab that. It's in my POC site. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the devices and the manufacturers. So I've got devices here. And I'm going ahead and capturing manufacturers. Connected. All right, cool. Went ahead and did that. So next, let's just go ahead and start adding some galleries now. So on the left side, right here, inside, I'm going to add a gallery. And let me see that. Perfect. This gallery, I'm going to connect it to the manufacturers. And for the manufacturers, I'm not using images because in this case, the images are not responsive right now. So therefore, all I'm going to focus on is just the manufacturers. So right here, I come in and I'm just going to select one. And it already automatically does the manufacturer. So we are kind of good over here. So let me go ahead and now rename this gallery so I can always reference it. And that is going to be the view screen MFR gallery. Perfect. Now let's start focusing on making this little responsive. So the first thing I want to do is actually focus on the entire gallery itself. So we always start with the same things. Let's start with the X and the Y. So gallery in here, its X. Now its X is going to be 0, which means it always takes us to the left. And then its Y is going to be also 0. Well, that's a little confusing, Daniel. Why is its Y 0? And I know if when you saw me put 0, you would have expected it to go all the way up over here. But that's the beauty of this container and the responsiveness. Once the gallery is put inside the container, the gallery's Y equals 0 is always to the top of that container only. It's not to the top of the entire app. Kind of making sense how this responsiveness is working, and how I'm kind of telling you is that do it in layers. The topmost main container, then there's the 3 levels inside: the header, this middle section, and then the footer over there. The things you add in each of the containers, they just reference each other. It just makes sense from the responsive standpoint. Your formulas don't go crazy; they all just interconnect over here. And this is just another great example. Now let's go ahead and keep moving along, and I'm going to go ahead and work with its width. Now its width is going to be the VS left container width. I mean, it's all making sense now because we've spent some extra time working on the left container, right container, making it fully responsive. Things which all the controls that fall inside it, just go ahead and reference that container over there. It just starts making sense over here. See, I don't have to do a plus and then minus, inside brackets plus, none of that. I'm just referencing that one container over here. So if you've already guessed, its height is going to be the height of that container. It's as simple as that. So we come over here, VS left container dot height. Okay, so let's actually do a quick test over here, see what's going on. I come in, I start doing that, and let's see what's happening. I mean, it is to some extent pretty responsive. See, it's already coming in, it's already doing that. It's kind of nice, but what I want to do is I want to push it to a little bit more level. I'll show that to you. Is something which I've done over there to add that extra wow factor to the responsiveness. But if this is good enough for you, then you can just stop right here, because this will work. It is fully responsive automatically because it's inside the container over here. And the only thing that's going to be different is the height over here. And for that to compensate, you'll have the scroll bar. So if this is good enough, you can stop right here and just fast forward to the next piece. But what I want to show you is some other fun stuff that I've done. And it also kind of was a good learning experience, because you kind of understand how this whole gallery template thing really works as far as the templates idea. So watch this. One of the things I'm going to do first is inside we have this big title area over here, all right? So what I'm going to do is its width and height, I'm going to go ahead and make that fully responsive as well. Now watch that. Here, I'm going to go ahead and change first its width, all right? Its width, it's gone ahead and already done the full parent template width 100 and subtract by that. You can leave it as this over there. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to go ahead and make it focusing on the gallery's template width. So watch this. I'm going to change that to VSMFR gallery dot template width. So now it went ahead and actually filled it over there. I got to go ahead and actually change its X over here. See, it's X, change that over here, go ahead and change its Y. I can keep that as is, or I can go ahead and change that down over there. Fills it up nicely. All right. Next thing also I can go ahead and do is now focus on the entire height over here. So this height reference, see, it's kind of interesting because if we went over here, you go ahead and show that it is a gallery's height, but it is also that template's height. So you just kind of play around with what it is that you want. I'm going to leave that as is. What I could do is I can actually reduce the size a little bit. So I want to make sure that I can by default see everything over here. And because I did that, let's go and make sure that my entire gallery get changed. Nope, the height is good. The width over here is also good. All I want to do now is go ahead and fill out this guy's height, the actual control over here, that label. So I'll come in here, I'll search its height, and then its height, again, it goes ahead and references the self over here. What I can do is for its height, I'll reference the template's height. So VSMF gallery dot template height, and it filled it up over there. See, the responsiveness is taking effect. Finally, I can always just come over here, put the text, and I can put it center, so it kind of looks a little bit nicer. But now you're getting a much more improved responsive design. And over here, see, I mean, it's still kind of the same. You know, I mean, this grows over here, this grows over there. So it's kind of almost the same. What you can do is also make it fully responsive to automatically change the font size. So you can do that as well. So in the font size over here, we can do the same process that we've done up over here. So watch this. Remember the header and the footers formulas we went ahead and changed? The same thing I'm going to do over here. So I go to this title and I'm going and changing its font size. Come on, I'm just going to click on font size. And then its font size I'm going to say is the VS manufacturer gallery dot, and I'm going to reference the height this time, divided by say 30. And the moment I did that, it went ahead and actually put in that, showed me what it looks like. And that my height looks good. I mean, the font size looks good. And if you remember, if you're confused about how I came up with the height gallery, I've actually referenced, done something similar in the third video when we were making the home screen fully responsive. The quick, 10-second reason for that is to make it responsive. And the best one was to do the height of the gallery. You reference the height of the entire gallery or the height of the control, whatever you see over there. Just go ahead and reference that. All right. So now actually, if you go to quick test, here, when you make it smaller, it'll actually, even the font starts going smaller. See that? So the responsiveness is really taking effect. So we're done with this left side. Let's now go ahead and focus on the right side. Because what you'll notice is that the gallery is where we're going to spend most of the time. The edit form is so simple. So starting off over here, I'm just going to go ahead and capture the gallery right here. I'm going to do a Control C, copied it, go to the right container. I'm going to paste it inside it. Right, so it automatically went and filled it in, which is neat. Most of the responsiveness is already done, and I'll go ahead and call this as this is going to be for the devices, MSR. I'll call this devices. Now its list is going to be a little different. It's items. So the items piece, let me just go ahead and take care of that real quick. What I'm doing is based on whichever device is selected, I want to go ahead and automatically filter the manufacturers over there. So there is the manufacturer name. Let me go get that manufacturer name equals VS gallery VS manufacturer. Yeah, right there. VS MFR gallery dot selected dot, and I'll just put that in as name. I think it's name or it's title. Let me just double check. Oh, I guess it worked. Let me just double check here. If I selected, yep, that works. Cool. Now, if you've noticed that it automatically became responsive, that's because I went ahead and copied it from the left side. But what I want to do is just take a closer look to see what are the responsiveness over here. So what is the X? What is the Y? All right, so as you can see, this one is, even since we did a copy and paste, it went ahead and its height is referencing the left. So you can keep that as is, unless you are 100% want to make sure that, no, Daniel, because I might change it, I might rename it, I'm going to just go ahead and start changing the names. You can do that as well. So, you know, its height was first to the left. I want to go ahead and change that to the right. Same thing. You can just go ahead and keep changing it and make it fully responsive on that side over here. So that's basically the main difference between the two. Also, you can go ahead and now, you know, make sure that you turn on the you know, the transition over here. I can go ahead and put on pop. This is obviously not for responsiveness, but it helps to identify what it is that you're selecting. But all said and done, that is the key one. That is how we've done it. Now, finally, in the gallery face over there, I need to, you know, make the gallery do what it actually is doing. So on the gallery, in its on select, I need for it to be able to go ahead and actually move to the right side over there. Now that the following things that I'm going to do is not for the responsiveness, it is for the actual use of the app itself. So now on the app, for its on select, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to actually go ahead and say set action type var, and I'm going to put that as edit. All right, and then I'm also going to say navigate to the add edit screen, and I'm going to say cover right. All right, I did it because from here it's going to be only an edit. You're going to go ahead and edit it. Now I'm going to take this one as well, and we're going to go now and go to the home screen. Now in the home screen, we don't need all these buttons over here, so I'm going to actually get rid of a few. I'm going to go ahead and select that, get rid of that, and we'll keep these ones. So let's go see what this error is all about. So that's the whole button 1/8 width. So I'll just go ahead and change that to the button 1. See what I mean? That it was referencing a button that we just deleted, and because we deleted, these errors started coming up over here. That's why for the one that we were doing in the middle container, it was actually helpful to change it, you know, from the left. Even though when we did a copy and came to the right, it was best that we actually went ahead and changed it to, you know, the name I was setting over there. Cool. So now this one is going to be our add. This is going to be our edit. This is going to be our view. And if you remember the demo that I showed, you know, the final finished product, the only thing I'd done was I went ahead and filled it up over here. So that was the only difference, but you could leave it as is. But here is now what we're going to do. So for the add button on select, what I want to do is come to the on select. On select is also I'm going to put the same set, but this is going to be add. And in the add, first I'm going to go jump straight to the add and the screen over there, the add edit screen. Okay, did that. Now on the edit screen, I need to first go and see what it is that I'm editing. Therefore, I'm going to go into the view screen first. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and put navigate. And over here, I'm going to go to the view screen, comma, cover right. Same thing on the view screen. So I just did a copy over there. Come over here and it's on select, do that. Now I'm just kind of, you know, I did this just to add a few more buttons to kind of fill it up. But technically your add and view, or your edit and view could have been the same button over there. But you know what I'm saying, right? So I click on that, comes over here. I'll go ahead and fix that, obviously, because we don't have a home button to go and get back to. So I could actually take this over here, go to the settings. I can go and change that now to the home. And then on the home, I can say on select, navigate back to the home screen, fade over there. What's going on over here? All right, we've got the height thing already fixed. All right, so let's go and start working on some of that as well. But anyway, you get the idea that I come over here, I can go to the home screen, edit takes me over here. Based on that selection, takes me back over here. So now we just need to focus on the edit form, because honestly, that's the last piece. That is also the easiest piece, thanks to how the containers are working over here. So the header, the main container is already working. It's already filled up. We've got the header is already up and running. Now what we need to do is let's add our edit form in here. So inside the edit form itself, I have the full container. All right, and in the full container, I'm going to add a section inside. I'm going to add another container. So watch this. Before we added the two side horizontal ones, here I'm going to come back to there, and I'm just going to add a full container. And for now, I'll just go and manually put it over here, so at least it looks that, and then we'll make it responsive. So let me just grab it a little bit nice, and just fill that up a little bit. Okay, and then I want to also name that to my AES middle container. Let me also rename these guys back again. AES middle container. And I just noticed something. This one should have been on the inside. So let me delete that. Let me select in here, come back in, and put it in here. Let's see, did it go in the right way? It did, perfect. So change the AES middle container. Okay, so now let me go ahead and align this middle container and make it responsive. So the first thing is the X. X is good. Its Y is going to reference the AES header container's height. All right, perfect. Let me go take a look at its width. Width is going to be the AES main container's width. All right, fill it up nicely. And then finally, I want to go ahead and just play with its height over here. So its height is going to be a combination of the header and the footer over here. So what I'm going to do now is, before I mess with this one's height, let me go and get the footer in its location. So its footer is actually, its X is 0, perfect. But its Y is going to be, and I'm going to take that off over here. It's going to be the AES middle container dot height, or Y, plus AES middle container dot height. So it's already gone over here. Perfect. Now that I've done this, I gotta go back and change the middle containers in a full height over here. So X was good. I mean, width is good. Its height. So its height, we just gotta go ahead and now play around with that. So its height is going to be the AES container. All right, so for the middle container, we gotta go ahead and make sure its height is correct. So for that, its width is good, but I gotta make sure I'm on the AES middle container, and I gotta go to the height, and here is what we're gonna do for the middle container and its height. All right, so first, the formula is the same. Get the full container's height and subtract it by the header and the footer's heights. So I go to the AES main container and its height, subtracted by, and in close brackets, I'm gonna get the AES header container, its height, plus AES footer container and its height. Bam, all works nicely. I can see it, it's all sitting in well over here. All right, so let's do the final piece. The final piece is going ahead and dropping our edit form in here. So I'm going to come to the forms, I'm going to click on the edit, and the edit form, I'm going to go ahead, and for the edit form, I'll go ahead and line it up a little bit nicely for now. So at least I'll do like that, and I'll call that as my AES edit form over there. And now let's just go and make sure that its X and Y's and height and width are good. X is 0, perfect. Its Y is 0 also because it's matching the 0 of the middle container, perfect. Its width is going to match the width of the AES middle container, width. And then its height is going to be the AES middle container's height. And honestly, we're done as far as going ahead and putting stuff over here. And if you don't believe me, let's just start filling up the form with some information and you'll start seeing what happens over here, all right? So what I want to do is, well, I got to come over here, I got to pick the source. The source for this one is going to be manufacturers, devices actually. It's going to be devices, and then it fills up with all the columns that I already have coming from the SharePoint list. That's fine. What I want to do is in the item for that list, I want to put a condition. So again, this part has got nothing to do with the responsiveness. but I just want to put a condition that if you're coming in from, if the action type is, if you're coming in from as add, then put the default devices information. But if you're coming in as an edit, then always get what was selected in the previous screen. So this is the easy part, but I just want to go ahead and do that because this is something I do for all my forms in this case. And if it's something that you're not familiar with, well, now you know what I do. That way it's a single form, and I go ahead and do that I use the single form for both view as well as the edit and add. And that's going to be the gallery name over here is VS devices gallery dot selected. Cool. So just to make sure that this works, and then this kind of over here, it can change that back to home. Oh, we already got home. So hamburger menu we will navigate back to the view screen, and then home takes us back to the home screen. Navigate to the home screen. Cool. So let's go and take a look now. All right, we came over here, we selected Dell's, we selected say an Inspiron 17, comes over here, it shows the Inspiron 17 and so on and so forth. But now watch this. All right, see that? It went ahead and did everything automatically responsive over here. This, we didn't do anything inside the edit form. The main edits form, we just made sure its X, Y, width, and height was good. But inside that, for each and every cards or data cards, we didn't do anything. The edit form automatically becomes responsive the moment you put that into a container. It is that simple over here. Therefore, I left the edit form at the end because I know that's the easy part. We were able to take that fully responsive home screen that we had, and then we came over here and we focused on the galleries. And in the galleries, there was some work that we had to do. First of all, for each of the galleries, we added some containers over here. We had a container for this one. We had a container for this one. Made sure that inside the gallery also, its X, its Y was width and height was responsive. But we also went inside each of the template width and made sure that it was responsive over here. We integrated the formula, the font size over there for the text, and it just worked. And then after that, we got one, we went ahead and did a copy and paste and put it on the other one. And we just changed this one to make sure that it was referencing its container, which was the right container. We could have left it to the left one, but we wanted to be very 100% cautious. And then finally, when we came over here, the edit form was simple. Edit form, we just made sure its X, Y, width, and height was done. And the form by itself becomes 100% responsive.